wish I had a consistent art style. My style keeps changing every time I draw. It keeps changing because your skills are developing and you're finding new techniques. So don't worry, in some years, you will find your art style because that's when you stop improving. Hey everyone, it's Shortcake. This is the third part of my series and I realized I don't like series. I'm basically stuck into one idea for several months and there's no escape. But thank goodness we made it to part 3 on how to become a Storytime animator. Please subscribe and hit the bell button. It supports the channel. Wanna know what else supports the channel? My Ko-fi. Do you wanna play video games with me once a month? Or do you wanna see some doodles and behind the scenes stuff that only members could access? If you're interested, it costs only 1 gourmet cupcake per month to join my Discord server via Ko-fi. And for a fat slice of gourmet strawberry shortcake, you will also get your name at the end credits of the upcoming video, a 10% off code every month for my shortcake merch shop at shortcake.com, and access to my shortcake critique channel. If you are interested, check out ko-fi.com/shortcake now. What is an art style? According to Draw Paint Academy, an art style is an artist's unique combination of techniques, processes, and decisions, and it develops and changes throughout the lifetime of an artist. I believe that every artist has their own unique art style. Even if you think you don't have a style, and even if your style is super inconsistent, it is still your art style. Well, unless you trace other people's work or use AI, then in that case, that's not yours. So, how did I come up with my own art style? As a kid, I was super duper obsessed with My Little Pony. Like, I draw ponies almost every day. As a result, my art style is forever influenced by ponies. In those years, plus high school, I was also in love with shading and adding lighting effects. I also began to obsess over anime too. In my anime phase, my artwork back then looked really pretty. My favorites are my Earth Human, my Roblox Tix Human, and this Pocky Pony. But today, I don't do that much rendering anymore. I tend to get fatigued from drawing now, and I wasn't as excited and experimental about art as I was when I was younger. My current art style reflects that. The anatomy is simplified and the coloring has very little shading and detail, so that I don't have to do as much work. Although it's lazier, I do enjoy my current style. I try to emphasize good proportions, composition, and line of action so that it is more appealing. But that's enough about me. Now it's time to show y'all how to design your own art style and character design for Storytime animation. First things first, determine what animation style you want for your videos. Now I'm talking about the medium first rather than the actual art style. Determine if you want to do 2D or 3D animations, or maybe even mixed media or experimental type animation. Of course, first you gotta see if you got the budgets for it. Budgets as in time and money. 3D software can range from heckin' expensive to free, but you're gonna need a good computer with a good amount of RAM and a good graphics card for it, especially if you're going to be rendering long Storytime animations. And making 3D animations is gonna take hundreds of hours just to learn and be proficient in. 2D animation might be a little easier on your budget. A computer is not necessary to create 2D animation. The bare minimum would be a smartphone, and 2D is open for artists of all skill levels. You can even make animations with just stick figures. 2D has different styles of animation to choose from. You can choose frame-by-frame hand-drawn animation, which is what a lot of Storytime animators gravitate towards. Or you could use rigged puppets and do tweened animation. Puppets might make the process faster since you won't have to redraw the same thing over and over, but it may require software where you will have to pay. Though with frame by frame, you can draw the frames on any software as long as you can put the images into the video editor. I actually have a video with over 1 million views detailing how I do this. You can also use sprites, which is basically your character drawn in at least 20 different emotions or poses, which can be reused throughout the video. I'm just gonna use my own self as my example. My animation style that I chose is 2D, but in my presentation style is just drawing the keyframes and making it bounce using video editing software. The process is lighter in workload for me, and it saves time since I am a one-person team. Now to determine your art style. If you're an artist, you already have one. You can take your own art style and play around with it to make it suitable for animation. What techniques or ways can you make your art style more efficient for animation? For me, I have my shortcake style, and I take away all the shading and varied line art to make it more simple to animate. The line work should be smooth and without any gaps so that I can easily fill it in with a bucket tool. I also try to minimize the amount of lines I use. For example, an arm may have complex curves and edges, while I just draw one curve to save time and make it flow. Finally, I allow background characters to be just one color so that they are not too complicated and their simplicity allows my persona to stand out. If you still don't know what art style you want to use, or maybe you're not happy with your own art style, you can look at all kinds of media for inspiration. Look for artwork you admire and would want to incorporate into your own art style. But overall, I recommend sticking to the art style you are most comfortable with creating and making it efficient for drawing hundreds and hundreds of times. Now it's time to design your main character, persona, or mascot of your storytime animations. I've been wanting to learn how to design characters from a professional artist, and with Skillshare, I can accomplish just that. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes taught by industry professionals. There's many topics to choose from, such as animation, illustration, and character design. Skillshare can help you take your career, skills, hobbies, or side hustles to the next level. Fall is the start of the learning season, but with Skillshare, instead of having to take a 6-month college class with tons of assignments, the Skillshare classes are already available and much shorter, so you can learn at your own pace. There are plenty of classes to discover, starting from broad like character design fundamentals to extremely specific like how to draw a character turnaround. Aside from that, I love that there are popular artists that I can recognize who I can learn from. I love Jazza Draws. He's an amazing art YouTuber that I've been following for many years, and I stumbled upon one of his Skillshare classes talking about character design. The class was around an hour, but I like how it's broken up into multiple videos to make it easier to digest. Here's a little alien design I made while taking this class. Skillshare has announced a new and improved class system, including smarter class categories, 3 new class topics, and the ability to find classes by software and material. New members are asked to share a little about their interests, and from there, Skillshare gives recommendations tailored to their goals. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Go get started today. Anyways, here's a step-by-step on how you can design your persona for storytime animation. Because you're making storytime animations based on yourself, look into yourself for inspiration. Do you want to make your persona look more realistic and accurate to your real-life self? Or do you want to make it look like your dream self? You can also base it off your personality, favorite color, or theme. What species do you want your character to be? Human, animal, fantasy species, even a Splatoon species. Once you've got your ideas, draw them on paper. Play around with your character. Explore different body types, face shapes, and hairstyles. Try out different fashion styles too. This is the stage where you brainstorm and draw yourself or your persona in as many different ways you want. You want to create a lot of options to choose from. Once you've got an idea of what your character is going to look like, make an expression sheet. This is my expression sheet of long-haired shortcake back in 2020, and this is my expression sheet of green hair shortcake in 2023. Expression sheets are meant to explore the strengths and limitations of your character. It's meant to help you get to know your character more. This expression sheet of shortcake doesn't look exactly the same as what my current design looks now. The more you practice drawing your character, the more it evolves, which may be slightly different from the original. Now for some character design tips. I recommend keeping this character consistent throughout your videos because people love recognizable characters. People don't really like change unless it's improvement. This character should be one that you will never get sick of drawing hundreds and hundreds of times, like a comfort character. So take great care in designing it in a way that makes it fun and relaxing for you to draw or animate. Keep your animation and art style in mind when designing your character. If it's for frame by frame, try to simplify it as much as possible to make it easier for yourself. If you can draw your character within 2 minutes, that can save a lot of time. This can be achieved by repetition, simplification, and efficiency in your workflow. Wowee, I sound like a teacher. I can't wait to actually make storytime videos. I'm kind of bored of teaching. Character turnarounds are not easy. They can be mathematical, and I'm definitely not a mathematical person. Turnarounds, though, are a necessity to keep your animations consistent. If you're limited to just drawing a front view or 3/4 view, it'll be super hard to play around with scene compositions and perspective, which plays a significant role in storytelling. In just a moment, I'll be redrawing the shortcake reference because it's already a year old. So, I measure my character's height using heads. heads. The more heads, the taller your character will appear. I was thinking of making Shortcake's height to be 4 heads, but after trying it, I found that 3 heads is a lot cuter and fits better. Shortcake consists of simple shapes: a spear for the head, a rectangular prism for the torso, and cylinders for the arms and legs. Shapes help me with proportions, and it makes it easier to pose the character how I want it. Here's the base drawing, which I'll use to base off of when making my character turn around. Next, I use straight lines and add guidelines to measure the top of the hair, the top of the head, Shortcake's hairline, the middle of the eye, or more importantly, the bottom of the upper hair tufts, the chin, the bottom of the neck, the bottom of the sweater, the bottom of the pelvis, the knees, the ankle, and the bottom of the feet. You can add more or less guidelines. It depends on your character and its details. You really just need these guidelines to help you accurately measure your character when drawing the turnaround. Using guidelines and your artistic abilities, try and draw what you think your character would look like from a side view. Next, I'll draw the front view. To make it more proportional and a lot easier, I use symmetry for the front view, and I turn off symmetry for the parts that aren't symmetrical, like the side bang. Now that you have this front view, you can easily make a back view. All you have to do is duplicate the drawing and erase the inner parts, leaving the outline behind. And then, just insert the details of what you think the back should look like. Use symmetry to help you. Now to do the quarter view. My base drawing is already quarter view, but I'll do it again and make them face the left. Remember to think about your character in 3-dimensional shapes. I can do the same thing I did with the back view for the back quarter view. I just duplicate the sketch, erase the inside lines leaving the outline, and draw it how I think the back quarter view would look like. Now that I've got all my sketches for the turnaround, I just clean it up, color it, and now it's complete. Congratulations! You now have your art and animation style and your character design complete. Next up is the final video of the series, animation and editing, where you can finally put all of your ideas, script, audio, and designs into use. Do you have any questions or advice about character design, art style, and branding? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to check out codashby.com/shortcake, where you can become a member of the Shortcake Silly Club. Thanks for watching! See ya!